Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to yet another Track Titan Community Race stream. We are on the 55th Track Titan Community Race ever, of course. And we are in Croatia at Grobnik. Is it Croatia?
Yes, it is.
Croatia at Grobnik. Very interesting circuit. As you can see, just over 4 kilometers of circuit, 16 corners, but it's a very, very kind of fast-flowing corner. Lots of corners that lead into each other, lots of banking, lots of camber. It should be very interesting to see how the drivers cope with it today. As ever, I am joined in the commentary box by Spitslam. How are we doing today?
We're doing good. Hello, guys.
Well, plenty to look forward to today, and a championship battle potentially forming. We'll see. We're only in the second round, so let's see how it comes down. I've got a graphic here for the championship standings, so we can see what the top 10's looking like. Ryan Skywalker, after winning 2 races last week and getting both fastest laps, starts this season on a high. Starts with 52 points overall. Max Newt 7, last season's champion, comparatively did not get off to the blistering start that Ryan did, only kicking off with 33 points, and then it's very, very tight from 3rd down to 10th. There's only 11 points in it after the first round, so the rest of them positions are very well. Any position right now is up for grabs given the performances of the drivers, but of course Ryan cemented an early lead in the championship. We'll see if he can hold on to that in today's racing. And speaking of the drivers before the race, saying that this is going to be a very interesting one. The car is a boat, in the words of Michelle Rodriguez. It's and that's something that I noticed when I was doing some hot laps this week. I even jumped on a hot lap server to give the Supra a go, and yeah, I think we're all a bit used to the GTs and open wheel cars. So when we come back to a road car like this, it feels a little bit flobby. Is that right?
I didn't try the car. I didn't have time at all. Like,
yeah,
the whole time to spare.
It's a very interesting one to drive. It's a little bit rear happy, and some of the drivers will be racing with traction control, some without. Of course, the car has the option to drive with traction control. So, yeah, some of the drivers will have it, some won't. I think Max Newt potentially has it on. We'll see if that gives him an advantage in the racing. That'll kick off in just over 7 minutes time. Of course, we've got 7 minutes left of quali, and the drivers are on their first flying laps now around the circuit, and early lap times will start to come in a minute. But I am going to quickly jump on board with Ryan Skywalker, and we're going to take a look at what a lap looks like around Grobnik, because I'm aware that a lot of people might not know what this circuit quite looks like. So here we are, coming onto the start-finish straight. We've got a little bit of a kink before the line. That's the pit entry on the right-hand side. You want to use all the circuit there and then get along to the left-hand side of the track, because we've got a very interesting right-left flick here. You can see the right braking deep before the corner's even begun to get yourself ready for that left-hand turn. Max Newt up ahead of Ryan Skywalker. Ryan Skywalker running out to the exit curb, left again, and you can see the car sliding all over the place. You can definitely see what Michelle was talking about when he said it was like a boat. Once again, using all the circuit, coming in to clip the apex there of turn 4, and then round into the hairpin here at the tip of the circuit, missing the apex on the inside here and powering out of the corner to utilize all the track available. Full throttle down towards this corner, and then a little bit of a lift as we come into this corner to get the car stabilized for these quick lift right flick flacks, and then back once again on the power in I think about 3rd or 4th gear here. Ryan with a little bit of desync here, making things a little bit more confusing for me. Into one of the more sharper corners on the circuit there, the right-hander, followed by the left here. They don't have corner names, so I can't give them anything interesting. I'm sure we can come up with some interesting ones throughout the racing. And now we're onto the back straight, if you will. It's very curved, so it's a bit of a not so straight as you come round into the final section of the track, braking deep just after the 100-meter board there, turning into the corner, running it out wide, taking a bit of a V-line here, Ryan Skywalker, for the hairpin, followed quickly by the left-hander that I mentioned right at the start of this lap, and that is a full lap of Grobnik. What an interesting circuit. I'm not sure what kind of racing we're going to get here. Do you think we're going to get good racing here, Spitzon?
Oh, it might be good racing. By the way, I have corner names.
You have corner names? I need them sent to me.
Do try description. It actually works this time.
Very
and
interesting.
it's actually corner names. but it's like the corner names. There's the first corner, the second corner, the third corner, but it's in the language, in the Croatian language.
Do
So
you think
we
you're going
need
to be
to
able to
get.
give me some of these names? Can you speak a lick of
Uh,
Croatian? Goodness
the-
me.
Oh God. I will look on the website you have because I'm sure there should be corner names. Racing
Well,
circuits. Okay, great.
Yeah, racingcircuits.info is my usual holy grail for circuit information, and it doesn't list any corner names for this circuit. So whether that's just because it's quite a low level, I think it's a more of a motorbike circuit. This one traditionally, actually, I think it's FIM Grade 2. So you see a lot of regional motorbike championships coming to Grobnik, but yeah, not so much international car racing as we get with the Track Titan racing series.
Okay, great. So, yep, they don't have names.
Very
It's a
interesting.
grade 4, actually.
It's what?
It's grade 4.
Oh, it's FM Grade 4. Very interesting. Not a high-level circuit there. I suppose, as you can see by the tyre walls and the gravel and grass runoffs, it's not the sort of thing that you see at international level racing. So, as much of a very interesting track it is much more of a testing track, I think, for cars and a motorbike track in general.
You actually have it here on Racing Circuits. I'm quoting. To date, the major races include the FIA Central European Zone, NASCAR VLN Euro Series, Alpe Adria, and the Sidecar Grand Prix.
Well, I've never watched any of them, but they do sound exciting, although I doubt they're quite as exciting as the Track Titan Community Race Series. But some decent levels of racing you will see at Grobnik then. It's a circuit that I think would be very fun to visit in real life, not just virtually, I think, actually. Looks like a fantastic one to spectate at. Nonetheless...
Also, it's a pretty new circuit as well. And in 1981, a guy, I don't know, it was like 125cc race. I don't know what it was. I think the sidecar championship. On lap 23, these guys, there was 160 kilometers per hour. His helmet got stuck in the guardrail, causing injuries from which he succumbed several days later.
Spitzlam, every circuit we go to, you seem to find someone that's died here.
It's literally one of the. There's circuit history.
You need to stop talking about death at circuits. We're not going to see any death in the Track Titan Community Race Series. We're going to end that there, right? We're going to leave the death in the past, and we're going to carry on focusing on what's on track.
On circuit review, there's circuit overview, and then there's circuit history, and there's tragedy still marred the new circuit.
Right.
It's the first.
Leave that. Just drop it. Just drop the death. Drop the death. We're going to focus on what's on our track, okay? We're qualifying, and Ryan Skywalker is currently on pole position. Max Newt is in second. Henry Combs is in third. There's going to be no death on our circuit.
Actually, the fourth chapter is named The Circuit's Darkest Hour.
I'm asking nicely.
I'm not kidding. Look at you have it all there. You have it all there on racingcircuit.info. It's all there.
Right. If the viewers want to go look at the people that have unfortunately deceased at this circuit, they can go to racingcircuits.info. In other news, qualifying's almost over, and we spent 5 minutes of it talking about death. So let's focus on the track again. We've got Ryan Skywalker trying to make the most of today's racing by starting currently on pole position. We'll see if Max Newt 7 can put up a fight. And the man that started today in third position, I want to say Michelle Rodriguez, but I'm now doubting myself. No, it's Isaac Gard starting this race in third position. Who isn't here today? So Michelle Rodriguez. Isaac had a fantastic...
Is not even here.
Yeah, he's unfortunately not here today. He had a fantastic time last time out, but Michelle Rodriguez is starting in 4th position in the championship. He's currently in 5th, so we'll see if he can improve. He's not going to improve. He's in the pits right now. Ryan Scalca on the back end of the circuit, getting caught up in traffic, almost going off the circuit. Max Newt 7 here, coming round to complete his final flying lap of the qualifying session. Can he get himself up into pole position? Oh, he's going well off the track there. He's all over the curbs, and that's going to slow his lap times right down. Henry Comsey crosses the line, doesn't improve on his lap time. He's going to settle for 3rd or worse. Max Newt 7 still out on track, crossing the line just now. He's going to finish this qualifying session in 2nd position. So Ryan Scalca, even though we got held up in some traffic there, Max Newt 7 giving us some nice drifts. Ryan Scalca starts the race on pole position. Max Newt 7 in 2nd. Henry Comsey in 3rd. And then Dennis Bosman entering the first race in 4th position, followed by Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Jass, Alexander Gray, and El Ripo. And just like that, qualifying's over just as soon as it begun.
The great name. Oh, Ryan is gone.
Right, the camera car has not cleared the grid once again. We won't make that mistake. Ryan is gone.
Oh, it's you. Is it you? Yep, it's
No.
you. Well, I will say one thing. My auto start system works. I don't know what's wrong with yours and Tom's. I'm just going to keep mine as it is. That's the end.
Fingers crossed the camera car can get out the
We
way.
are
Ryan
lots of
Scalca is
red.
disconnected from the server, so we've only got 7 drivers remaining. Ryan Scalca from pole position, running into some problems. Disconnected from the server. I'm not sure what's happened here, but
I'd
Ryan
say
Scalca
classic.
will not be starting this race, which is going to be very damaging in the terms of the championship for him. Nonetheless, that does put Max Newt 7 onto pole position for this race. 6 red lights go on, 6 red lights go out, and away we go for 15 minutes of racing. That's a blistering start for the man in 3rd position there, Michelle Rodriguez. Max Newt 7 gets a decent start on the left side of the grid. Henry Comsey getting absolutely mogged coming into the first corner, but he manages to hold onto that 2nd position for now, and he's even hunting down Max Newt 7. There's a bit of a lock up there from Dennis Bosman coming in towards Michelle Rodriguez, and Alexander Gray getting mogged. Hugh Jass moving up the inside of El Ripo up the inside of Hugh, and they're 3 wide for 5th position. Max Newt 7 at the front of the pack is clearing away from Henry Comsey and Michelle Rodriguez. Dennis Bosman close behind, both battling away for 3rd. Behind them, Alexander Gray seems to have dropped Hugh and El Ripper, but they must have come together because they have split apart very, very quickly. That battle over 5th position cooling down very, very quickly. So halfway around the first lap, the drivers seem to be settling in. Of course, it's a smaller grid than usual this time around. Only 7 drivers out on track, so we shouldn't expect to see the same amount of chaos that we usually do see. We'll see if Ryan reconnects. He's just loaded into the server now. He's going to be starting from the pit lane. He's just leaving the pit lane now, but that's devastating for the South African driver there. He's going to have to fight his way back. Fortunately, he's not yet managed to go a full lap down, so this is still a fight on the cards for Ryan Scalca, starting in 8th position, but he's fortunate there's not more drivers on the grid, I suppose. But coming around to finish the first lap, Max Newt 7 is your current leader, trying to gain all the championship points he possibly can to catch Ryan Scalca once again in this championship. Henry Comsey close behind. Michelle Rodriguez rounding out the podium as he looks to defend from Dennis Bosman and Alexander Gray. It's a Swedish sandwich with a Dutch middle.
And you are still in grid.
I'm still on the grid. Once again, the camera card does not clear the grid. Typical stuff. Fortunately, there's no one to crash into me today, so the camera car is not causing us problems.
Oh, and El Ripo.
El Ripo.
In turn 1. Oh, turn 2.
El Ripo getting it all wrong, going into the wall at turn 2 there. That's so easy to do. I found that throughout the week it's so easy to lose the back end of this car coming around them first few corners and just end up in the wall. And he's struggling with traction now as he rejoins the circuit and then goes round again and into the wall. Terrible stuff from El Ripo there. And then that's kind of the battles. We've got plenty to talk about in the championship, and I think that's going to be the topic of discussion for today because the racing looks like it's going to be cooling down a little bit now. Look how the car dives as it breaks into the corners. The chat's been lighting up. Tom is in the chat here today.
Yeah.
Been talking about death, and there's blood on Max's bonnet. There is.
Yeah, there is blood on Max's bonnet.
He's got a very fitting livery. But yeah, at the back of the grid, let's take a look at Ryan Skywalker, give him a little bit of a screen time here. The poor unlucky driver there with connection problems. Still circulating though, and still in for a points haul today, because even if he finishes last, he still gets 2 points because there's only 8 drivers on the grid.
We know who killed Ryan's Wi-Fi. It was Max.
It was Max.
It's because of the blood.
That's the blood on the front of Max's car. It's Ryan's Wi-Fi technician. He killed him. Like someone has a personal Wi-Fi technician. Anyway, more chaos on the circuit, off the circuit. Coming through into turn 2 now, Dennis Bosman still hounding Michelle Rodriguez for 3rd position. Dennis had a decent time last time round, not as good as he would have hoped, but he does start this race in 5th position in the championship. He didn't get any points in the first race, but he did get a 3rd in the second one, so we'll be looking to replicate that performance this time here at Grobnik, and he's well alongside the rear quarter of Michelle Rodriguez as they're coming through the corners here. Still hounding the Swedish driver, looking for a way past as they come to the back end of the circuit, up the hill, all over the curbs here, getting a little bit of sideways action between the two. But Dennis still unable to find a way past Michelle Rodriguez. And I didn't ask you before this race who was going to be in the lead by the first corner, Spitzlan. I missed out.
Well, you have to ask the next race.
I'll have to ask the next race, but don't curse Ryan.
I said nothing to Ryan. I actually wanted Ryan to win. But I said nothing.
This is bias.
I said nothing. I didn't want to curse him. I wanted to be kind. Still happened.
The bad luck comes to Ryan anyway. He's going to be hunting down the unluckiest driver award for season 2, which does remind me. Sorry, season 3. Which does remind me the season 2 awards night will be coming up shortly. We need to find a date that works for all the drivers. I'm sure we'll be doing some organisation in the Discord, but that will be something that's coming up soon. So you've got that to look forward to. Off the circuit, plenty to look forward to. On the circuit, much less, because all the drivers are about a second apart from each other, and the racing's not a whole lot of interest in at the minute. So we can kind of have a discussion, and I said it before, shall we name some corners, Spitzler, while the drivers are circulating?
It's like, I know the second one is Drugi, the third one is Treci, fourth one is Četvrtý.
Right, I'm gonna struggle. I struggle to pronounce Michelle Rodriguez's
name. Fifth one, Riecký závoj. The fifth one is a long curve.
Right, we're gonna. I'm just okay. Well, I'll leave the Croatian names. I won't absolutely bastardize their pronunciations. I'll leave that. I'll leave that in the past when I used to pronounce Eric's name completely wrong, and I'm sure I still do. Eric, meanwhile, actually was not able to connect today. I think he had some internet problems and couldn't download Grobnik in time, so that's a shame not to see the Polish driver here this time round, but I'm sure we'll see him at some future events. Next week is the turn of the GT3s in the championship, and so I'll reveal.
It'll be fun, and I will miss it again.
Unfortunately, won't be here. So
the same day. I think I will catch the stream though, so that's fine.
Of course, everyone wants to watch the stream. If you are watching the stream, make sure you subscribe to Track Titan YouTube channel, and you drop us a like for all of our fantastic corner pronunciations and name pronunciations. On your screen is the only real bout on circuit right now, as the drivers are starting to settle into a rhythm with 8 minutes remaining. They're just going to look to circulate the lap as quickly as they possibly can and keep anyone else at bay. But currently, Dennis Bosman is looking to find a way past Michelle Rodriguez for 3rd position. Here he is coming through turn 3 now in towards turn 4. And he's just sticking to his lines, but you can see how loosey-goosey Michelle's rear end is here. And is this a case of Dennis has traction control on and Michelle has it off?
Michelle has it off, definitely. I know that he confirmed it as well. I know Alexander Gray has it off as well. Like the only two people I know that has it off. I think everyone else has it on. Yeah, you get a large advantage in the corners, but sometimes you go slow off in the corners. We get the traction that you need for these fast chicanes and everything.
Yeah, if we kind of analyse some of the driving here, they're both managing to follow very similar lines, but it does look like Michelle's got a little bit of a looser rear end, so either Dennis Bosman is very gentle with his throttle application, or he does have the traction control on, and it is allowing him to keep close to Michelle Rodriguez. and keep the battle alive for as long as he possibly has. And they have been battling since the start of this race, these two. It's been from the lights all the way now to fourth or fifth lap in we are. And they're still battling away, but Dennis still unable to find a way past Michelle Rodriguez.
I knew that the Benetton was a good idea.
It's the power of the Benetton. It's all in the liveries. But the monster livery should come to fruition if Dennis Bosman can keep this current run of form, because he is really making sure Michelle sticks to his lines and keeping him honest for as long as he possibly can. If Michelle slips up even once, then Dennis is going to slip by unannounced, and he will not have any remorse, I'm sure, as he breaks very deep into turn 2 there, goes very wide, loses out on a lot of time there. And just so talking about Michelle making a mistake, Dennis is the one to blink first, and he makes the mistake into the second corner there, breaks too deep and loses about half a second to Michelle Rodriguez. Now he's outside of that second gap, and I'm not sure what the streamlining effects are in these cars, whether that actually has much of an effect. Of course, not a whole lot of aerodynamics on these cars, but yeah.
I think it does. It's more of a car that people know for its drifting than for the racing.
Exactly true, and we are seeing that. We are seeing that with how loose these cars are driving. Especially when they come through these S's here on the circuit. I won't call them flick-flacks again. Tom might bully me.
It's loosey-goosey.
Loosey-goosey. Just as Daniel Ricciardo might say.
Yep.
Is that Daniel Ricciardo or is that Sebastian Vettel?
I'm not sure right now.
Ooh, there's been a pass
I don't know.
for 7th position. Completely off cameras there. Ryan Skywalker, on the recovery drive of the century, decides to try and throw all of his progress away, but has managed to get himself past El Ripo for 7th position. So from a driver that started from the pits halfway around the first lap, he's managed to catch up to and pass El Ripo. So that Williams livery not paying dividends for El Ripo, unfortunately, with his very damaged Supra there. That's going to cost a bit to repair. But Ryan Skywalker now, with 45 seconds to catch up to Alexander Gray and the lead pack, he is, well, I'd say he's well out of contention for anything better. But you know what? You know that Ryan is the kind of man that can prove me wrong every week. Although he is going all over the grass there.
So we'll see. Benetton was my choice of a car, and Michel's been very good with it. So he's representing the Benetton, and the Williams was an idea of Henry Comsey, who has the monster livery.
Yeah, Henry Comsey did not get the Williams livery. He had the monster livery. But you can see the gap starting to form between Henry Comsey, Michelle Rodriguez, Dennis Bosman, and then soon to come round is Hugh. Here he is coming around the corner. So not a whole lot. Ryan's disconnected again.
Wait. Oh no.
Ryan Skywalker. He's really suffering with problems here. I'm not sure what's causing all of his issues today, whether that's power related or whether that's Wi-Fi related. I do know that he's been having some problems with his power. Not sure whether... Well, hopefully that's not a recurring thing that we see in this season at all. Would be awful to see for the South African driver, especially after his blistering start to the season with 2 wins last week. But his main championship rival and the reigning champion, Max Newt 7, well, I suppose he shouldn't be happy to see Ryan disconnecting, because I'm sure he'd prefer to have a decent battle with him, but maybe a wry smile is crickling on the Finnish driver's face there as he leads this race. 7 laps completed, 3 minutes to go. Leading his his fellow countryman Henry Comsey, and comfortably, I might add, comfortably leading him with 2.5 seconds between them. Yeah, perhaps there's a little smile forming on Max Newt 7's face as he watches Ryan disconnect from the server once again. But
it's the Finnish 1-2.
Currently, as it stands, it's the... I don't have a name. I keep calling Henry the Iceman. I don't have a name for Max.
Max? No, Henry is more of an Iceman because he can go from back of the grid to podium places and we don't even know how. Max is just flying at the front.
Max is an absolute trailblazer, and he's proven that in this race.
Finn.
Of course, that's what Max is. Max is the flying Finn, and Henry's the Iceman.
And Henry's Iceman. There we go.
I knew I had a name for him. Either way, at the top of the grid right now, it's a Finnish 1-2. Dennis has really dropped back from Michelle Rodriguez, After he struggled into that second corner and lost a bit of time, it's only gone downhill from there, and he's dropping further back from Michel Rodriguez with every passing lap, not potentially into the clutches of Hugh in 5th position, but
Yes.
still holding on.
I want to just commentate on. You said that he's falling into the clutches of Hugh. Hugh is 11 seconds
No,
behind
not
him.
quite. He's not quite fallen into the clutches of Hugh.
He's not even. He's flying away from
Yeah,
them a little bit.
he's still got plenty of gap back to 5th position, so he can comfortably sit and circulate in 4th. But yeah, he's definitely fallen off the back of Michel Rodriguez, especially since a few laps ago. And that battle that was going from the start right through until the middle of this race has really dropped off, which is a little bit of a shame to see. But still, the race continues for the 7 drivers that are left on the grid. Hopefully Ryan can reconnect sometime soon.
It's kind of quiet.
It is.
The only
It is a
thing
little
that's
bit
loud
quiet.
is the cars.
It is, and we can listen to the beautiful sounds of the 2JZ engine. This lovely Supra. Everyone loves the sound of it. Let me bump the track audio a little bit so the audience can hear as well. Who doesn't love to listen to this 6-pot
The
roar?
turbocharged.
You know what? It's funny actually. As much as this is of course, the Supra is a base game Assetto Corsa car. However, it
No,
doesn't
it's a DLC.
It's a DLC, excuse me, but it's a Kunos developed car. That being said, as the car goes by and as the car downshifts, you don't quite hear that intake noise that the Supra's come known for, so I'm not sure what they used to record. Potentially just a stock Supra. Potentially I'm used to hearing modded. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they just used the Fiat 126 to record it.
No, I don't mean a car as thinking. I meant like an energy drink. When you drink it and you fall in a specific way, and you
I know what you
and
mean.
you put
I know what you mean. Maybe they did that. The time has ticked down to 0, and 7 drivers are still circulating. Ryan managed to load into the server, but then did disconnect immediately. So hopefully he's able to get back in for the second race here. But that's the first race, seems to be done and dusted. These drivers seem to have got a handle on these cars and they aren't making any silly mistakes, bar El Ripo, who will be getting blue flags at some time soon, potentially, or potentially might just escape it this lap round. But it's been a lights to flag victory so far from Max Newt 7. He's controlled this race from the front. He was due to start in second, but then with Ryan's technical problems, he started from the front and he's made the most of it. He led into the first corner. He diced with Henry Comsey a little bit through the early stage of this race, but he's kept the foot down, he's kept the car controlled, and as he comes round the back end of this circuit, through the S's you can see here, you can see the absolute elevation change of this circuit as well. This seems like it'd be a great circuit to drive on. But still, yeah, Max Newt 7 has controlled this race from start to finish, and he is demonstrating exactly what it takes to be a Track Titan Community Race champion. And if things stay as they are and Ryan isn't able to reconnect, he's going to be taking home a full haul of points this first race. And potentially the second race, like I said, if Ryan can't reconnect. But here he is, your champion, coming around the final corner, champion not only of the Community Race Series, but champion of the first race. Max Newt 7 comes onto the start-finish line to win this race ahead of Henry Comsey, just over 2 seconds behind him. Not got the answers to his fellow Finnish driver today, but he has to settle for that second position spot. Michel Rodriguez crosses the line just ahead of Dennis Bosman, and I'm not sure what happened to Michel in the last lap there, but Dennis really closed into him, took this gap down to within a second, but as much as they flirt with each other, there seems to be no passing moves being made, so they crossed the line as they started. Michel Rodriguez from Dennis Bosman. Actually, no, sorry, I think that was a change from the qualifying. Here they are then. The last of the drivers to cross the line, Hugh Jass. Fantastic name. In 5th position with Alexander Gray. In 6th, coming around the back end of the circuit and crossing the line now. And then El Ripo, the last driver out on track, making sandcastles. He's going to finish this race in 7th position.
Else?
Of course he's doing that. What else does he do? Ryan Skywalker still not reconnected. So, drama for our main championship contender. Leading the championship going into this race. He definitely won't be after this race. And if he can't reconnect in time for the second race, then we're going to have some serious drama on our hands. Max giving us some drifts.
Max. Oh, and he spun out.
Max is trying to give us
That's
some
what you
drifts.
get for driving the traction control.
Of course, he does drive with traction control on. I think Max Nuke 7 does. I'm going to let El Ripo come round to finish this lap, or at least see what a sort of course it allows him to do, because it does end automatically at some point. But I want to give as much time as possible for Ryan to reconnect here, with a little bit of compassion for the South African driver. It'd be awful to see him not be able to start either races, especially after he managed to fight all the way from the pit lane back to 7th position in that first race. But here he comes, El Ripo in the Williams livery, crossing the line in 7th position.
And a beaten up Supra.
The fact that he's going to get that many points, considering the driving that he's done, is a insult.
Disgusting.
Nonetheless,
hey, big boy, you're on track.
You'll have to remind me to clear the grid. Apparently, you can't clear the grid when they're on the grid, so it'll be a first lap thing. But El Ripo starts this race on pole with Alexander Gray alongside him. Then it's Dennis Bosman, followed by... Sorry, then it'll be Hugh Jass, followed by Dennis Bosman, Michelle Rodriguez, Henry Comsey, and Max Suit 7 for a 7-car grid. Ryan still not here. Still not making his presence known.
He will not come back. Seems like it.
Everyone on the grid beeping their horns, flashing the lights, getting themselves hyped up for this race. It's going to be a quiet one, I think, with only 7 drivers on the grid. And I'll clear the camera car when the race starts, so we don't have a repeat of last week's incident. And we'll have to fix that. Nonetheless, 7 drivers on the grid, 6 red lights. They go out now, and away we go. And that's a decent start for El Ripo there on the right side of the grid. And who's that covering? Alexander Gray moving across to cover Max Nuke 7, looking to get himself up into a higher position. The cameras have gone off, and there we go. El Ripo still leading this race from Alexander Gray. Hugh Jass and Michelle Rodriguez going side by side. Max 7 has been pushed onto the grass through the 3rd corner there. They're coming round the 4th corner now, breaking deep once again into the hairpin. El Ripo still holding onto this lead, but it's a very tentative hold because Alexander Gray is well there, as is Hugh Jass. Max 7 also sniffing around the top 4. Michelle Rodriguez and Dennis Bosman have had a side-by-side battle, both in the monster liveries here. El Ripo holding onto the lead, but Alexander Gray is alongside. He's alongside his rear quarter. He's looking to make a move as they come through into the S's here at the back of the circuit. Alexander Gray's all over the grass. El Ripo's all over the grass. They're all over the grass. Hugh Jass sniffing at the back of them. He's in 3rd position. Alexander Gray gets some oversteer on. He looks to the inside of El Ripo, but nothing's going to happen this time around. Michelle Rodriguez has managed to get himself up past Max Nuke 7. Max Nuke's had an absolute nightmare there. He's dropped down 2 positions behind both Michelle Rodriguez and Dennis Bosman, and Henry Comsey is now arrived on the scene in 7th position, looking to make up all the positions he possibly can. Early on in this race, Max, with a fantastic lunge up the inside of Dennis Bosman there, secures 5th position, but he's going to lose out immediately as they come onto the back straight, and Dennis is going to come and fight back, and they're 3 wide going down the back straight. This is fantastic racing from the 3 drivers at the back of the grid currently, coming in towards the final complex. Max blinks first and drops into last, which is something I'd never thought I'd say, although there is only 7 drivers on the grid. Alexander Gray has managed to make a move for first ahead of El Ripo, and he's going to hold on to that lead as we come across to finish the first lap here. And Michelle Rodriguez is also hounding El Ripo, but El Ripo squeezing him right to the inside here. Shades of Montoya, but Michelle Rodriguez holds his nerve, keeps to the inside, and makes the move on El Ripo across the line. Max 7 now hounded Dennis Bosman. He makes the move into the 1st corner. Who's that gone well off there? That's El Ripo.
It's El Ripo again.
Making sandcastles once again. He drops down into the last position, and that's awful news for the driver there. Dropping down the order once again. Now it's a Swedish 1-2 as Michelle Rodriguez looks to make a move on Alexander Gray. Hugh Jass here ahead of Henry Comsey and Max 7. The 2 finish drivers have managed to find a way past Dennis Bosman. Max up the inside of Henry Comsey, and he's bumped him very, very wide there. Henry Comsey's not going to be too happy with that one. He gets bumped well out the way. Up into 7th. Oh, and Dennis Bosman squeezes him right to the corner of the circuit there, and Henry Comsey goes well off and drops down into 6th. He won't be too happy with that one. I'm sure will be looked at by the marshals after the race. Of course, we have got a penalty system for this season. Max 7, though, still battling away with Hugh Jass, and this is a much more interesting race than last time already. Hugh breaking super late there, coming out the S's. He's going to compromise his exit, and Max 7 is going to calmly move around the outside of the driver there and get the inside line into the next corner. But Hugh shuts the door on him, and they almost come together as they come onto the back end of the circuit, down the back straight here. And Dennis Bosman has come to play. It's a 3-car battle on the back straight once again as they come through into the final complex of corners. Dennis Bosman in the middle, Max on the outside, and it's Hugh on the inside. Hugh hugs that inside line, keeps himself on the curves. Dennis gives him a bit of a love tap there and loses out on some time, and Henry Comsey moves up the inside of him. Henry Comsey now up into 5th position, and it's a 4-car battle now coming on to the start-finish line. Alexander Gray controlling this race from the front. Michelle Rodriguez in 2nd still, but it's all changed further back than that. Max Newt 7 in 3rd. Hugh just getting flashed by Henry Comsey, who moves up, who still, is looking for a way past him as they come through into the 2nd corner now, and Hugh looks very, very wide there, and Henry Comsey moves through on him. Not quite, actually. Henry Comsey still looking for a way through. I keep thinking he's made the move, but he's not quite. But surely this is it as he looks up the inside. But Hugh still holds on around the outside. How is he defending like this? Breaking deep into the hairpin now. Henry Comsey all over his exhaust fumes. The top 3 are line astern, just learning each other's lines, and meanwhile there's a battle for 4th behind them. Wow, I've talked for too long there, but this has been an interesting race so far, hasn't it, Switzerland?
It really has been, just watching the race. Hugh having really good lines and defending as well from Henry Comsey. And Henry Comsey goes past. He has really bad braking point. And Henry just gets past like it's nothing.
Absolute send there from Henry Comsey, the Iceman, keeping it cool and making the manoeuvre. As they go into the back straight, we'll see if Hugh has any answers to the finish down. But Henry has got one thing on his mind, and that's the man ahead of him. He's going to be wanting to catch up to Max Newt 7 and not let him run away with the championship, especially as this is the kind of time when Henry can capitalise with the absence of Ryan. But Hugh is not making it easy for him. He stays up the inside out of the final corner, but loses out on a little bit of time on the exit there, and Henry Comsey powers out of the corner and down the start-finish straight with a little bit more comfortableness between them. But it's 3 wide up at the front, nearly. Michelle Rodriguez bumping shoulders with Alexander Gray. Max Newt 7 arriving on the scene. He's on the outside, Alexander Gray on the inside. Michelle Rodriguez on the inside, excuse me. And Michelle Rodriguez is the winner there of that battle. Into the 2nd corner, Michelle Rodriguez holds on to 1st position, but Alexander Gray fights back. They're rubbing shoulders. This is like touring cars as Max Newt 7 also looks at the inside of the pair of them. Alexander Gray comes back over, barges into Max Newt 7 there, damages both of their cars, and they're sitting line astern as they come through, breaking deep for turn 5, but it's still Michelle Rodriguez in the lead with Alexander Gray sniffing up the rear quarter of Max Newt 7, but he's not got an answer for him once again. And Max Newt 7, the flying Finn, is going to fly through on Alexander Gray, and his Swedish meatballs have been devoured.
No, it's just they're not going to choke now.
Every time with Alexander Gray, every time. The battle for the lead is taking place now, though.
That's
sorry.
He's finally putting the blood. The actual blood on his hood. Now coming from Michelle real fast. But Alex is not letting him be. I think Alex will do anything to get those points. And Henry is joining in. It's a 4-way battle for the lead.
It's a crazy battle here for the lead. 4 drivers in contention as they come into the final complex of corners here. Michelle Rodriguez in the lead, braking very early there. Max Newt 7 getting well alongside. He's on the outside, but Alexander Gray looks up the inside, and it's almost 3 wide coming through the corner here. Max Newt 7 forced well to the outside because Alexander Gray is now well alongside him, but he goes through the dip, he loses a bit of speed, and now Henry Comsey arrives on the scene. He's slipstreaming down the start-finish straight, looking to gain any possible time he can on Alexander Gray. They're going over the start-finish line. Henry Comsey alongside Alexander Gray. Max Newt 7 alongside Michelle Rodriguez, and Max Newt has the inside line for the 1st corner. But Michelle moves over. He covers him off, and Max Newt 7 goes round, and Michelle Rodriguez goes round, and the 2 leaders have crushed each other off. This is like Senna on PK, and the 2 leaders have taken themselves out battling for the lead.
Senna on Prost. I think that's what you mean.
That's what I meant. I knew it was some kind of Frenchy name. Anyway, so that leaves Henry Comsey in the lead of this race.
That is getting bad about Alex. That is going to be investigated by the stewards. That was not clean. Not sure what really happened, if Dennis turned in or not. But Dennis crashed the rear of Alex.
Dennis puts Alexander Gray around, and the driver that was leading this race for such a long period is now down in 4th position, and he's getting hunted down by Max Newt 7, who is going to be driving well and truly.
We said that, man.
He is the
It's
Iceman,
Henry
Henry Comsey.
Comsey. How like Kimi, we didn't know he was outside podium places and then he was in the podium places.
Exactly.
Where is Henry now?
He goes to prove it. He goes to prove us right every single week. He comes from the... He was at the back of the grid at the start of this race. He got absolutely bullied in the first few corners. Put right to the back of the grid. He's kept his lines, he's kept his head, and he's moved up into first position. Max 7 has got past Alexander Gray, but Alexander Gray comes back and gets a position back from Max 7 coming out the final complex of corners, and Alexander Gray is really making Max Newt's day an absolute nightmare. Defending fantastically, attacking fantastically, but Max has the run on him down the start-finish straight. Alex squeezing him, Max pushing Alexander Gray, but that's all fair in love and war. Down the start-finish straight, Max 7 is well ahead, and he should be comfortably ahead by the first corner, so long as Alexander Gray doesn't do anything crazy. He does do something crazy, oh, and he nearly gets on the back of Max 7. Fortunately, the two don't come together, and they manage to hold on to this lead, this fourth place battle. But wow.
We forgot about something we had back in the day. The Track Titan replays that we could bring back for the stream. Would be cool for this
had to disappear because my computer couldn't handle them.
Oh.
That's the reason. Alexander Gray gets it all wrong. Look, getting a bit of oversteer out the corner there and goes off the track. Doesn't fall too far back, and so he's still ahead of Michel Rodriguez out of the corner. And Michel, yeah, really suffered after squeezing Max 7 into the first corner. That one's definitely going to be looked at. That's going to be a hot topic in the Marshall's court this week.
I think
Keith and Alex are also in the chat, chatting away.
Oh, if you look on Alex closely, like in the back of the car, if you want to show it on stream, you can see the back sliding out, and that's how you know that he doesn't have the DC on, traction control.
You can tell as he breaks into the corners. Look at his back end just flying out. So it just shows the well, the different preferences of the drivers here. It's fantastic to see a little bit of variation and how it plays into their hands, really. Alexander Gray was doing fantastically with the front, and it was serving him well, but then he got passed by a couple of drivers and then got bullied. Bullied all the way down into 5th position.
I know Alex likes these kind of drifty cars, if I'm right, and also loves the Nürburgring. And I noticed a lot of these corners here are banked.
They are. It's a fantastic... This is why I think this would be a great circuit to drive. So many of these corners are cambered in fantastically. It just looks like you can carry so much speed through them because the corners are just going to absolutely aid you through.
Speaking of, he compared this to the Carousel on the Nordschleife.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. And whilst we're chatting cambers, quickly, Max 7 manages to get himself past Hugh Jass there for 3rd position. So Max, on a fantastic recovery drive after being wiped out, is back up into 3rd position and hunting down Dennis Bosman, who's 5 seconds up the road, but with only 3 and 3/4 minutes left. That might be a little bit too much to ask. We'll see. We'll see. It's not out of the realm of possibilities for a driver like Max 7. Up at the lead, Henry Comsey holding on to himself. El Ripo's gone off the track. He's making sandcastles. He really is not enjoying driving this car. El Ripo's not a bad driver. It has to be said. El Ripo's a decent driver. It's just he's definitely not enjoying this car on this circuit today. Michel Rodriguez and Alexander Gray are going at it. It's 2 Swedish drivers down into the back end of the circuit, into the final complex corners. Michel Rodriguez braking deep, both drivers with traction control off, so that's not going to be a kind of topic of conversation with this overtake if it's going to happen. Michel Rodriguez gaining all the time on Alexander Gray, but we know how hard it is to pass Alex. He's a fantastic defender, as he went to prove the last few laps. Up ahead you can see the battle between, I believe that is Hugh and Alexander Gray? No, Hugh and Max 7, excuse me. Max 7 trying to leave Hugh in the dust as they come across the start-finish line. Michel Rodriguez is still up close behind Alexander Gray, and they're battling away, but you know what? I can't even make this out to be more than it is. This is still a second part battle.
It's the aerodynamics on this car is not that good, so there is not that much. I don't know if there is drag, a lot of it. Dirty air, clean air, more of the techie stuff.
Yeah, potentially. This is the kind of risk that you run. Of course, in the new Season 3 of the Track Titan Community Race Championship, we have got different categories each week to vote on. And this week was Street and people wanted the Supra and they wanted this circuit, but I think a street car kind of lends itself to some fast straights and sharp braking corners, a little bit like well, I want to say a little bit like F1, but not so much anymore. A little like old F1, because there's not much aerodynamic components for these cars. So when that street vote comes around, drivers bear that in mind. They'll get some better racing if they can vote for the better car track combo.
We should, if we want to, we can just, I don't know, maybe, I don't know who has a good computer from us marshals, but maybe someone can pull up, I don't know, an software that we can measure the aerodynamics of some of the cars. I know we can do it without a ton. And as I'm saying that, Michel is getting really close to Alex.
He really is, yeah. He's keeping him honest, but we know that Alex can defend well. But yeah, Michel is making Alex's life a living misery right now as they come across the line with only just over a minute left. So I do think this is going to be their penultimate lap. We'll see if Michel can make any moves stick. But yeah, fantastic. That's what I was going to come on to here, of course. Well, some of the drivers are kind of struggling to race here because I think of the nature of the cars. But next week, it's the turn of GT3s, and we're heading, as voted for by the community. If you go to app.tracktitan.io/vote, I'm going to cut myself off here because that's a move by Michel Rodriguez. That was a robust move, wasn't it?
I was looking at the chat at the moment he did, so I guess it was a great move. I saw it down the inside of Alex.
Very much up the inside,
right.
Very touring car-esque. That one, that was a well, all fair. As I said before,
Yeah.
all's fair in love and war. And Michel Rodriguez
It's like
bullies
you
that
play a little
Alex
bit
off.
dirty in this car. It's like the TCRs you can rub, you can bump the draft. It's
Yeah, I think
in
you
these
certainly
cars
can
it's
in a car
fine.
like this. In a car like this, it's sometimes necessary. But yeah, next week, potentially not, because next week, of course, it's a turn of the GT3s, and we're heading to Kyalami in South Africa, so hopefully Ryan can be there for his home race in the Mercedes SLS GT3s. That should be a fantastic race next week.
SLS.
Yeah, the Mercedes, so we'll see how that one goes, but yeah, fingers crossed Ryan can start out whatever technical problems he's been having today and be here next week for his home race. And of course he's going to want to, because these are going to be his dropped rounds. Missed both races today. That's going to be a grand total of sweet FA for Ryan. But one man who isn't going to be getting sweet nothing is Henry Comsey. Up in first position, the Iceman has been holding his position very well, capitalising on the chaos and going to prove his name right. And it's going to be two finished winners today if things stay as they are, if Henry doesn't throw himself off the circuit on this lap, which is always a possibility. But he's just coming around the track now. Alexander Gray is still close behind Michel Rodriguez, but not threatening a move quite yet. I think there's still a bit of a gap between the pair of them. Potentially on for a late lap lunge. And Hugh Jass is not too far up the road from the pair of them, but I think we're very much out of reach.
He's
This
7 seconds behind.
No, Michel's 2 seconds behind Hugh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so they're just not too far behind, but I think well out of the realm of possibilities for an overtake this time round. All that being said, final lap, Henry Comsey out in the lead. He's been in the lead since about lap 4, lap 5, when the incident between Michel and Max happened, and he's flashing his lights down the back straight. He's a happy, happy boy. He's trying to take his championship fight up a notch. He's determined to make Ryan and Max's lives a little bit more painful this time round than he did last time. He doesn't want to just settle for third. He wants to fight for this championship win, and he's doing everything he possibly can. He finished well last time round. He finished in second, and he's got to finish in first. This time round, it's a win for Henry Comsey. The Iceman crosses the line of first position. Dennis Bosman, also with a fantastic finish there in both races, finished in second in this second race, and then Max 7, winner of the first race, taken out in this race, finishes in third, but we'll see how penalties fare. Of course, you can't really penalise Henry Comsey for winning, so I'm sure that's going to be the kind of position that sticks around. Hugh Jass finishes in fourth position. That's a great finish for that British driver there. And then Michel Rodriguez and Alexander Gray cross the line in fifth and sixth after battling right to the line. Alexander Gray not able to make any moves on the last lap, and then Chief Sandcastle maker El Ripo comes around to finish his laps. He's going to get a little parade lap, I think.
He's just on the back straight. Let him be. He has
he's,
time.
He's just enjoying himself. Let's see if we can get Max and Henry in for a chat. Do you want to go see if Henry's ready for an interview?
Yeah, fine.
So Split Slam is gonna go grab Henry if he. I think he's and then we'll hopefully chat to them very shortly. But a win for Henry Comsey and a win for Max Newt 7 here at Grobnik, a circuit that I'm not familiar with, and has been
And Max.
very well retrieved. And Max Newt 7's also ready. Should we drag them both in? Are they both ready?
Yes.
Okay, we've got Max Newt 7 and we've got Henry Comsey. Well done, boys. Two Finnish drivers winning today. Firstly, Max, you won the first race. How did that one feel? A lights to flag victory.
Yeah, it was pretty relaxed drive. I don't know what happened to Ryan, but
not
that
too
was
sure.
shame.
Yeah, it is a big shame actually. He would have given you a good race throughout that one, but I suppose I said you might be smiling inside because it does mean you get more points.
Yes, little bit.
But that was the first race. The second race, comparatively, didn't go quite so well. What do you think? What do you make of what happened between you and Michelle?
I don't know. Suddenly we both just spin, and I have to look what happened there. But
yeah, well, the marshals will be having a look at it. It's a shame because you were battling very well for the lead, but you fought back really well. You passed Alexander Gray and you got back onto the podium. So that's a good haul of points still, and I think that should put you into the lead of the championship, I believe.
that's nice.
So yeah, we'll see how much you can hold on to that into the second race, and then I'm gonna come to Henry now. Henry, first race round, mixed bag, but I think you finished fairly well, didn't you, in the first race? And then in the second race, much better. Where did you finish in the first race?
Second.
Of course you did. It was a Finnish one too. Goodness me, what on earth am I thinking about? Yes, Henry manages to finish in second. That was a fairly relaxed race for yourself as well. I think you were kind of just doing your own battle, weren't you?
Yeah, kinda. I had a lot of little mistakes and losing Max on the start of the middle sector and slowly losing behind. So it was just too little practice.
Yeah,
from the weekend. So
I suppose that makes a difference. We saw how many laps Max put in this week. Max, you must have done about 200, wasn't it?
Yes, I drove quite a lot.
Well, you put it to good use there. But in the second race, Henry, you did a lot better. After Max and Michelle came together, you just kind of swept on through, and we were singing your praises, calling you the Iceman for capitalising. And then from then on in, it was fairly quiet. But that first lap was difficult for you. You got bullied right to the back. But, well, I mean, what did you make of it in the first lap?
Yeah, few times little bumping here and there. I think one was from Max, so but in the end it was from the start it was like I don't want to get the mix to the guys. It was just like breakfast right and left, so just waiting for them to get separated and then take them one by one. And after Michelle and Max collided, it was pretty relaxed race. Bosman gave pretty good race pace from that point on, but slowly the gap increased, and last few laps I just cruised to home.
Yeah, well, you kind of controlled it from then on in. Dennis threatened something interesting, but it didn't quite come through. But yeah, by the end of the races, it was fairly relaxed for both of you, so I'm sure you'd both be happy with that. And Henry, you surely will be cementing a third place or a second place after this one, and then Max will be up into the lead. So in the championship as well, good for you both.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
But I don't have anything extra to chat about here. Spitsam, do you have any other questions?
No, I don't think I do. Just congratulations, guys. Great races. Unfortunate for the crash with Max and Michelle, but we will have to investigate that. Will be fun.
Yeah, these things happen in racing, but Yeah, well done, guys. I'll return you back to the general channel, but great races and great wins for you both, and I'm sure we'll speak to you very soon.
Hope so.
Thanks.
Bye.
See ya.
Cool. That's Max Newt 7 and Henry Comsey chatting to us there, winners of the first and second races. And yeah, a fairly relaxed race for them both, of course, with lower driver numbers this time round, and just kind of cruising around. I think they both fought for it, but they both fought very calmly. But that's it. From Grobnik, any last comments about today's race in Spitslam?
Not much. It's just the one controversial crash. Actually, two.
There were
Actually,
a couple.
two that we will have to investigate. So
Yeah.
not much problem. It was great racing.
It was.
There we
I
go.
think it was some great racing to commentate over, and it was great to see the drivers having some good fun out on a new circuit to us all. I think really not a very popular circuit, so a decent one to kind of test the drivers' abilities. But next week we are back at somewhere a little bit more familiar to a lot of people. We are, as I said, at Kyalami, very popular circuit down in South Africa. Hopefully Ryan is able to sort his problems and get back for his home Grand Prix. But we will be racing the GT3s. It's the Mercedes AMG GT3 SLS, a fantastic car, very, very back-end heavy. So we'll see how the drivers cope with that over the next week in the Hot Up Challenge, of course, in the community race. If you want to join, head to tracktitan.io. You can join, you can download the Track Titan app, and you can join the Discord as well and get involved in these community races if you are watching and you want to get involved. But that's it from us here at Grobnik. So thank you for joining us, everyone, and we will see you next week at Kyalami. See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.